Hi, I'm Rumi Hara, and I make comics. My first book, Nori, was published by John and Quarterly in 2020. And this is my new book, The Peanut Butter Sisters and Other American Stories. It becomes available today, May 17th. So please order online or from your local bookstores. Um, I'm originally from Japan and I've been living in New York City for the past 8 years. Um, but I'm currently back in Osaka. Finally, I'm able to travel, so that's where I am today, at my mom's house, and it's a few minutes past midnight here. Um, so my book, it is a collection of short stories. I I had some of the stories I had the idea for them for such a long time. And it looks like this on the inside. So there are a lot of black and white pages, but there are also colors in there. And these stories are, most of them are inspired by the places that I've been living um, in the recent years. So everywhere in the US, mostly East Coast, also places that I travel to. Um, so so yeah, I think they wouldn't have come together the way they did if I wasn't in the US. So that's why it's called the American Stories. Um, so for example, a story called The Living Things, it takes place in the Mojave Desert. And I traveled there in 2019. I kept the Joshua Tree National Park booklet with me. I took a lot of pictures, did some sketches, and that was one of the places. And another story, Walking with Tommy Tabata. Actually, there's like a booklet here. So I think if you're lucky, you get this book plate um, with your book if you order early. But so this is Tommy and this is Steven walking together, and it takes place in the industrial area in Brooklyn and Queens. And I've had the my studio space with my friends for a long time in that area. So that's what the story is about. Um, and so yeah, I had ideas or at least fragments of ideas for these stories for a long time, but yeah, like I said, if I wasn't living in the US as an immigrant, um, it wouldn't have turned out that way if I didn't have the firsthand experience to see the landscape and experience the place, meet all the people. Um, so yeah, I hope you enjoy the stories. Um, and like I said, I had the idea for this book for a long time, so it's hard to say when this started. But for example, the Peanut Butter Sisters, um, I had an idea back in 2009 when I was still working as a translator in Tokyo. A colleague of mine invited me to go to a printmaking workshop with her. And the instructor for the workshop told us to come with a sketch that we want to turn into a print. So this is what I made there. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but it's a drawing of three nude female figures with a head coming out of their crotches. Um, and yeah, I really like this image, and I kept making them. And there's actually a sequel to that. So the head comes out, the hands come out too, and it's actually the whole person coming out. Becomes a whole, you know, triplet people, and then it goes back to the beginning, and it's like a cycle that continues forever and ever. So I kept making illustrations of these women. I made a one-page comic about them. So I was kind of obsessed with these three women, but I didn't have a story for them until in 2019. I I submitted my application for a grant at Short Run Seattle. It's called Dash Grant, and it got accepted. So suddenly I had this deadline to finish the story and debut the mini comic at the festival, which was great because then I started really writing the story, thinking about it, coming up with the plot and everything. And yeah, there it is. So this is the mini comic that I made with the help of a lot of people from Short Run in Seattle. So the cover was screen printed. You see the pages of the Peanut Butter Sisters story. And so yeah, usually when I start making a comic, I write with words. I also sketch on the side as well. And when I have the story ready, I start thumbnailing. And the thumbnail looks like this. I hope you can see it. But this is the first page of the Peanut Butter Sisters. So the character Bammy, the second oldest of the Peanut Butter Sisters, she's jumping into the excavator shovel here. And oh, I'm realizing that I drew all this on the back side of Nori sketch. So this is how I do sketches, pencil sketches. I draw a rough sketch with a pencil on paper, and then bringing it into the computer, and I do all my pencils digitally printed out and put this on a light box, and I put the my good paper on top of it and start inking so that I don't have to erase the pencil marks or anything at the end. Here's little Nori. I miss her a little bit. But yeah, so that's how I work. And I don't have any originals here with me today, but I usually work on textured paper with ink and brush and watercolors. And for comics, I usually use regular brush and India ink, but I also really like using brush pens like these. I think Pentel is the best brand, but I also have this water brush for traveling, and I bring these little palettes like this one, so that I'm always ready to draw something. And I usually have several sketchbooks going. This one, let's see. So I did some sketches. This is from last year when I visited Maine, Acadia National Park in Maine. Um, so I drew like a landscape with the brush pen and then colored it in afterwards. Another scene from Maine. It was so beautiful there. I love traveling and sketching. And these are just mostly for fun. Of course, New York City subway. Yeah, for some reason, when I'm using the brush pens, the ink brush pens, I tend to do more observational drawings. And when I'm using only watercolors, I tend to do more imaginative stuff like this one. And yeah, so it's just for practice and fun and all that. But sometimes I get an idea for a story. And for example, this lady on the G train, she had this really big bun on her head, and I thought that was really cool. And I think her name is Lucy, and she works at like a low-key office job, maybe in Chelsea, in Manhattan. And she's really sweet to everyone, but she has this dark, violent side as well, and she can blow up things just by pointing at it. And yeah, that's that's kind of that was kind of an idea for Bombadonna in the book. So Bombadonna is a story about these nude figures with bombs as heads. So you can read it in the book. But yeah, so Lucy didn't become a character in a comic or anything. But because I drew her and I started daydreaming about her, a lot of the details of the actual story became more clear. What else? What else? Oh, this is the watercolor palette that I've been using since art school. Just a trusted plastic palette. I make paintings, comic pages with this. Ooh, I also have some books that I made a long time ago, and these might be the first mini comics or zines, however you want to call it, that I've ever made. So this is dated October 4th, 1990. And I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and my grade school teacher, I guess they helped me bind these and draw these. And here is a page about SCLU. It says, "This is my SCLU. I like my SCLU." And yeah, I wasn't really great at spelling, but I was very consistent about not spelling school right. There's also a section about the NAM bars. That's the way I spelled it at the time. So it's all about which number is big and which number is small. And this one has a bunny on the cover that's being sucked into a black hole. And on the back cover, it's all the chairs that are being sucked into a black hole. It's a little hard to see maybe, but yeah, the dark, violent stories in my childhood drawings as well. So yeah, that's what I have here today. Let's see. Oh, I love reading all the comments. Yeah, Nori, I think my process um, changed, like evolved a little bit when I was drawing Nori. A few years ago, I used to do everything on paper, but that was a lot of work. I had to measure it and erase everything when I make a mistake. And while I was making Nori slowly, I switched over to sketching digitally. So for this new book, I think everything was sketched digitally, and then I come back to paper and a brush after everything is ready. Yeah, so I actually have some more stuff here. So for the story Madonna, I wanted to include full color watercolor illustrations as well as black and white comic pages. And when I use color, I usually do a lot of color studies like this one, just to figure out what color the characters are and different color combinations and stuff like that. So yeah, I kept this one. More sketches for Bombadonna. But oh, this one's a little different. See the thumbnail page for Vertigogo. So this is the first page again. And I tried doing thumbnails a little bigger than usual, very subtle difference, but on like a half letter size paper, so that I can draw things on the side and it's a little easier to handle on my small desk. So yeah, so each story, the process was a tiny bit different, but basically the same. I do thumbnails on paper and then draw everything digitally. Yeah. Oh, so the question, I see the question, are you using Procreate to draw? Sometimes I do, yeah, yeah. But for some reason I prefer using Wacom drawing tablet, not the Cintiq, but the Intuos and my computer. So that's what I usually do. I did have a Cintiq before, but it just takes up so much space, and I never could find a comfortable position with it. So I changed back to the drawing tablet. And oh, sometimes my thumbnails are tiny, like these. This was for the living things. I think I was trying to figure out all the pages at once. So yeah, it's really, really tiny. Here's one of my favorite characters in the living things, Elliot. I liked him so much. He's really nice. He's helpful. And he drives this little tiny car. So that's him standing next to the car. And oh, more things from the Mojave Desert that I kept, like a ranger's newspaper thing. And I love maps. like this. And I don't make it too realistic, but sometimes I do, and I really refer to the map to see where the characters are going and everything if I can. That's really helpful too. And yeah, each story takes me maybe like a month to write and thumbnail, and then a month to 2 months to do the pencils, and then inking is pretty fast. I can ink like 2-3 pages a day. But I think I'm not that fast. I'm rather slow maybe, and I'm also doing other things. And the Peanut Butter Sisters especially, it took it took a long time, since 2009. Oh, is there a chance for a Japanese language version of Nori? I hope so. There's a French version of Nori, which is really exciting. But if anyone wants to translate Nori into Japanese, please do. I guess I could do that, but it'll be so much cooler if someone else can translate it. And Nori uses Osaka dialect, so it should be in the Osaka Japanese and not the standard Tokyo Japanese. So if anyone is from Osaka, Kyoto, like the Kansai area in general, and interested in translating Nori, please let me know, or someone at Drawn and Quarterly. Yeah, that'll be really cool. Uh, yeah, so like I said, it took a long time to make my book. I don't really know how long in total, but when I really started drawing, the first story, The Peanut Butter Sisters, it was in the summer of 2019, and then I finished everything last year, I believe. So I guess 2 years total of drawing and writing. But the ideas were there for a long time. One last thing, when I was looking for my childhood booklets, I also found a random comic that I made in 2002, and it is drawn on the back side of a random paper. I'm not sure if you can see this clearly, but this is a character that doesn't speak much, but he has a lot to say. So there's a lot of speech bubbles that are just dot dot dot. And it's about him taking a trip and coming back to his friends. And it's like it was his first goodbye and first welcome back. So he's like so moved at the end. So yeah, I kind of forgot about these characters, but it's a lot of fun to just make comics anytime, even if you're not, a full-time cartoonist. And yeah, I think if you can't think of anything to draw, you can always draw numbers. So one is really big, one is Lasto. So that was the end of the my 1990 numbers book. So yeah, Uh, yes, so that was the last show for my presentation too. I hope I didn't miss any. Oh, I see one more question. Do you also have a day job or is creating books your full time? Yes, I do other things too. Um, I teach illustration and comics. Um, I also do um, some illustration jobs. I do graphic recording sometimes. That's when you go to an event space or conference or whatever, and you record what's being discussed with illustrations and hand lettered words. Um, I also help other artists sometimes. I did a truck painting this year with my friend, another illustrator, Jesus. Um, yeah, I sometimes help other illustrators too when they have a deadline. So anything I can do to make money, and especially in New York, it's really expensive. So, ooh, which story from the Peanut Butter Sisters are you most excited for people to read? Good question. I don't know. I they're all different actually, and they're all about different characters in different places. So I think you can start with any story. Of course, it's in a certain order, but you can start with any story. Um, but the Peanut Butter Sisters, I feel like it's a good um, intro story, maybe because it follows how I went from. So I was living in Savannah, Georgia, 8 years ago. I went to an art school there, SCAD, and then I moved to New York City. I put everything I own in a van. My friends helped me a lot with that move, but I drove all the way up I-95 until I reached New York City. And it kind of follows my trip then, the story. So it feels kind of like the beginning story. So yeah. Oh, hi Richard. Thanks for coming. Um, yeah, but yeah, thank you everyone for great questions. Um, it was so nice to be here. And yeah, so I guess that was the last question. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Bye. Have a nice day or evening wherever you are.